Hi friends, in this video I'm going to teach you how to create a single, double, and triple loop bow using only your hands, a pair of scissors, and ribbon. Well, once you get comfortable with this technique, you can use all kinds of materials. You can use yarn, a variety of different types of ribbon, twine, lace. It's going to be so much fun. So let's get started. Now I like to start with learning and teaching how to use this technique by using the gingham ribbon. Gingham ribbon is a very pliable ribbon. This is probably a medium width ribbon, and I think it's just a really fun product to use, and it displays beautifully. But like I said, once you get comfortable with this, each material is going to be used a little bit differently, and it's going to feel a little different, and of course it's going to have a different look. So once again, you learn this technique, you're going to get comfortable with it and try using a variety of different types of materials. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay my strip of ribbon. We're going to start with a single bow. Now the single loop bow is probably about 15 inches long, just to get started with, and each material is going to, depending on the width of your ribbon, will determine how long you need to have the length. So I'm going to lay my ribbon on my hand right here, and I'm going to be using my pointer finger and my middle finger as my tools to create my loops. So I lay this on my hand. I'm going to use my thumb to hold my ribbon in place, and for this very first one, I'm going to create my first loop by wrapping it around my pointer finger. Now, this piece right here is going to be one of my tail ends, so I can determine how long I want that tail end by just moving it around. And again, you're going to get comfortable with it. It's probably easier to create it longer when you're learning than to create it too short and then not have enough material to work with. So I'm going to lay it there, hold my thumb over it to hold it in place. I'm going to wrap the other end around my pointer finger, wrap it once around my middle finger, and I have one loop, which finishes my bow there. I'm going to take this end, and you'll see here that there's a V little space there between my fingers. I'm going to push that end through, and then I have this little flap here. I'm going to take the end. You see there's a little loop. I'm going to push it under and pull it through. Now, once I have that, I'm going to tighten it down. Now, depending on how wide it is, I want my knot in the center, so I'm going to pull it towards the same direction that this other end is at. I'm going to tighten it down, and I'm going to jiggle it back and forth to tighten it down as much as possible to create a secure knot. And I want it in the center between my two fingers there. Once I'm done, I'm going to pull it off, and I have my first single bow. Now then what I can do is I will take my scissors and then I would clip them on both ends. But let's try that one more time, because honestly, that's it to creating this ribbon. When you're doing the double and the triple loop bows, the only thing that you're adding is additional loops. So again, I'm going to lay my ribbon or whatever materials I'm using on my hand, and I'm going to be using my pointer finger and middle finger as my tools to create the loops. So I decide how long I want that, wrap it around, one loop, take this end, put it down through the V, push it through. Just want to kind of keep this straight. Okay, so now we have that little flap there, and there's a little loop. I'm going to take the other end, push it under and through. Tighten it down and take it off my fingers. Don't be afraid when you're working with these is to manipulate and work with your ribbon. And then I'm going to just snip the end to create my single loop. Now let's go to a double loop bow. Same thing, I just have a longer piece of ribbon. Again, when you get used to this, you'll decide how long you need to have it. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll actually keep my ribbon on the spool to determine how long I want it, and then I'll trim it off later once I'm getting ready to tie my knot. So for the double loop bow, I'm going to lay it on my hand just like we did before, using my pointer finger and middle finger as my tool to create my loops. There's one, right? One loop, wrapping around again, 2 loops, okay? I'm taking that same end there and I'm putting it down through the V that's right there, all the way through. There's that flap. I'm going to take the end, push it, pull it over and under. Tighten it down, just like we did before. Tighten it down, making sure that my knot's in the middle of between the 2 fingers. Tighten it down, pull it off my fingers, and I have my double loop bow. Now I created another one here just so I don't have to cut that ribbon. This one's a little bit smaller. I just didn't have my fingers as far apart as the first one, if you can see the difference between the 2. And for the double loop bow, again, I'm just going to trim my ends, and there is my cute and adorable double loop bow. Let's do one more, do it again, and now we're going to do the triple loop bow. Again, this is doing the exact same thing. The only thing I'm doing is I'm adding an additional loop. And of course, I've got to get this knot out here. It's really going to hold together because that knot is a good knot. All right, so I've got my piece of ribbon, and this one's probably, this is about 22 inches long right here for my triple loop bow. And so again, I'm starting the same as before. I'm using this finger as my first loop and my middle finger as my first loop on the other side. So there's 1, 2, 3. Again, same thing, I'm just wrapping it 3 times. I'm taking the end, putting it down through the V, and sometimes the ribbon gets twisted and you just have to manipulate it. There's that flap again. I'm going to take this end and put it under and through, pull it up and pull it towards the way the other end is, tighten it down as tight as it'll go. You want a really secure knot. Take it off my fingers, and now I'm just going to take some time to separate the loops. And there is my triple loop bow. All I need to do now is to just snip the ends. I've got a single, a double, and a triple loop bow.